Joe.
It's funny, usually when I'm in front of this many people, I'm not exactly giving a formal talk. I'm usually either singing or freestyle rapping. If you don't know what freestyle rapping is, it's very spontaneous. You're rhyming words with one another. So I usually don't prepare for that. This talk, though, I guarantee you I prepared quite a bit. Though it wouldn't feel completely natural of me to leave everything not up to chance. So without that, I'm gonna do a little freestyle rap if that's okay with you guys. So usually I start with a word. In this case, I'm gonna start with the word phone because the phone in my pocket's really bothering me right now. And phone rhymes with academic tone, which is what this talk should kind of be about. Academic nearly rhymes with credit, and I give myself credit, but that sounded better in my head before I said it. So I keep going, and that's the part where usually people clap, yeah. If you haven't deduced by now, I'm a SoundCloud musician, a SoundCloud rapper, among many other things, including a college student. And through this experience with music, I've learned a lot about education. Many of you are probably wondering, how does this kid's music experience have anything to do with education? Well, it's a really cool story, but let's start with something that's kind of boring. Back in English classes, throughout high school, we'd have to memorize 60, 70 words, but we never really learned those words, we just memorized them. It's not that exciting, it's not an exciting example, but I don't remember any of those words, I don't use any of those words in any of my freestyle raps, and going forward, I mean, I probably won't remember them. But that was all about being prepared. In fact, to be successful, you had to prepare quite adequately. But when I do music, I don't actually prepare that much. I don't know all the words to my songs. I don't know how the audience is going to react. And I don't really memorize rhyme schemes. I'm doing it all on the fly, leaving it up to chance. So my English teacher from 11th grade would probably say, "You're going to fail." She's probably right. I'm setting myself up for failure. But it's actually been everything but that. In fact, music has been one of my biggest successes. So this is a real-world example of something I've taken from, the classroom and ideas from the classroom and brought it into the real world. Many of our students in today's interconnected world are going to have similar passions and goals and motivations, and they're going to have to try to achieve those things. What I'm going to do during this talk is going to give the educators in the room a roadmap to help their students take what they learn in the classroom and what they experience in the classroom out into the real world, like I've done with music. So without talking too much about it, let's get right to it. The first example I want to talk about is prototyping. Championed by the Stanford Design School, the Maker Movement, and tons of tinkerers throughout the country and world. It's all about just building. It's getting the ideas from your head and actually putting them into the real world. When I make music, I don't spend too much time thinking. I spend time doing. Writing a song, I start with a word, and then another word, and then another. With a beat, see a beat I like, I don't like, I throw it out. We just keep working, and it's learning by doing. We don't have enough of this in the school system, and I think that that's a shame. With the rise of tons of open source tools and the information flow at rates that many can't believe, we can take things like building a map and learning about maps into something where you program data into a map, or you're learning about robots, but you can actually build a robot. It seems so simple and intuitive, but it's not happening that much throughout the country. So educators, I challenge you to take this initiative, this role, and help your students connect the tools available to them and actually build something. Now, the second idea I want to talk about is memorization, or in the case of my own music, it's the lack of it. I can't really recite all my songs from memory, and that's not that great. But the thing is, memorizing isn't all good. In fact, Stanford math educator Joe Bowler explains that, we're favoring students that memorize quickly, but that doesn't favor the people that think deeply and creatively. In fact, we're coming up with a generation of people that can't think outside the box, and at least in my own music, I feel like that's all this is. It's just thinking outside the box, thinking about different ideas and approaching them in a different way. So, educators, I challenge you to, instead of focusing solely on memorization, weave in creative aspects. something that would benefit those deep thinkers. One example could be you have the vocabulary test, that boring vocabulary test. Instead of it being word definition, have the student write a story. Have them come up with something along the words, a poem, or even a song. I think this is a great way to engage all types of thinkers and really inspire people to think outside the box. Now, the third idea I want to talk about is something I've been sort of hinting at throughout this entire process. It's about being spontaneous, going with the flow. I couldn't have told you that this was all going to happen 4 months ago. With an album, a documentary, and tons of interviews and stories, it's been a journey. But it's all been left up to chance. When I go to a concert, I'm being spontaneous. I don't know if there's going to be a microphone that works. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. And I don't know how the audience is going to react to a song they don't know. But this process of just going with the flow and thinking about things in the moment is so crucial. As we see information flow at rapid paces, jobs changing daily, the exponential growth of certain technologies, we have to be able to adapt in the moment. So educators, whether you have a student who wants to become a doctor and has to see a new disease, or they are covering a news story and have to decide what facts to cover, or maybe they're a business person and they want to aspire to be a business person, have to pitch an idea, but something goes awry in the meeting. These ideas of spontaneity, they translate so well to this interconnected world. Now, in conclusion, I think with the growth of all these technologies and the idea and focus on the education experience, we have to remember that our students are the next generation. We have to remember that we have to prepare them for the real world. In a way, that's how I felt about school. It was preparing me for my next phase. And through, hopefully, the ideas and thoughts I've shared, you can too empower them. If I can liken it to something, educators, in this case, you're the rap star, you're the musician. The children, the students, they're your audience. Now, go have your concert.